evening. I'm Therese Tinsley. Police are looking for two criminals wanted for killing a 13-year-old boy in a hit-and-run crash. Police say the suspects in a stolen minivan crashed into two vehicles at the intersection of Monticello and Homer Street in East Dallas. This started about half a mile away, with Highland Park police chasing the minivan at Abbott and Armstrong. The innocent victims, a mother who is in critical condition and her son, who was rushed to the hospital but died. Melissa Cutler begins our coverage in East Dallas with witness accounts of what happened.
And Clarice, that manhunt continues at this hour. That chase started in Highland Park, as you mentioned, and it ended on the east side of 75, about 3 blocks from where I'm standing right now. Police say that the suspect came roaring up Homer northbound, blew right through that stop sign there, and then the suspects were traveling this way. This is eastbound on Monticello, and this is where the crash occurred. The suspects are still at large in what is now a capital murder investigation.
The front end of a stolen minivan shows the force of impact from the T-bone crash with a car that cost a 13-year-old boy his life. Violetta Acosta didn't see it, but heard the horrible sound.
It wasn't just a bang, it was a crunching, crashing sound, ongoing. It wasn't just one big bang.
Peter Ferris lives just steps away from where it happened.
It was almost like an explosion. It's just a loud boom.
Highland Park police say the car chase that started in their city ended in the worst possible way, with the loss of innocent life.
This morning about 8:15, one of our officers witnessed a moving violation in Highland Park, and the officer attempted to stop the vehicle. It was a blue minivan. The suspect driving the blue minivan then fled into Dallas.
The officer backed off because he was now in a residential area, but it wasn't enough to get the suspect to slow down. Police say he blew through a stop sign northbound on Homer and slammed into the car carrying a mom and her son heading west on Monticello, killing the teen, Ethan Vasquez, and critically injuring his mother, Sandy Vasquez, seen here on Facebook.
He looked non-responsive to me. The mother was non-responsive at first, but then they got her, she started to kind of, at least she was breathing and they were getting, a little bit of movement out of her. And then when we saw the boy, I just feel so sorry.
Their vehicle spun out and in turn hit another car that was already at the stop sign.
As that witness got out to attend to the vehicles, the victims in the car, it's our understanding that the suspects inside the suspect vehicle fled on foot.
After the crash, police canvassed the neighborhood on foot and with dogs, searching backyards and alleyways for any sign of the two criminals in the stolen van who ran away. The search led them several miles away to office buildings, a car wash, even as far as the Katy Trail and the restaurant district near Knox Henderson. Closer to the scene, the search set neighbors on high alert, afraid that whoever ran away from this might be lying in wait for them.
I will make sure that my doors are locked in front and the back and my dogs are out.
Now, Dallas police say that there are additional witnesses and they want them to come forward. And they say they know this because on the Highland Park police officers' dash cam video in the car, there are additional witnesses that are standing around the scene. And what could be an additional incentive, Clarice, for them to come forward is the fact that there's quite a bit of reward available. There's $10,000 available from Oak Farms, $5,000 reward from Crime Stoppers if they provide any information that leads to an arrest. So if anyone was thinking, they were hesitant to come forward, that certainly is an added incentive, besides being the right thing to do, to come forward and help police solve this crime. It's back to you.
And Melissa, yes, because that is the most significant thing, being able to do the right thing, to be able to help police solve this. This is just a heartbreaking story. We see the police working very hard in that neighborhood, Melissa. We know this is a capital murder case now. Do police have any kind of description, and how would the residents be able to identify the suspect or suspects?
Clarice, what was so frustrating about this when it happened earlier this morning was the lack of information. There was no description. They didn't even know how many suspects may be out there. So homeowners were left on their own to try to figure out if there was just a suspicious looking person on their property. Dallas police has since released additional information that although they don't have any race or ethnicity to provide, they said that the suspect was wearing a white T-shirt, a white cap, and was bleeding after the collision. So if you see someone maybe that doesn't fit the scenario that you're in, that may fit that description, that may lead police to find who and whom is responsible for this.
One other question, Melissa. Do we know from which area of the body that person would have been bleeding? Like the head, the arm, the chest?
Yeah, you know, police didn't release that information, but if you can imagine, I mean, this was a terrible wreck. We do have one young man deceased and a mom critically injured. So this individual, I'm sure, whatever injuries he has, probably presents pretty obviously. Even though we don't know what part of the body he was bleeding, and perhaps he's walking with a limp or shows some other sign of being injured, because I don't think anybody walked away from that accident without injuries of some sort.
Okay, that could be a very helpful clue. Melissa, thank you.